will be reminded that domestic partnership and its variations were never intended to be stepping stones to marriage, never meant to be dumped once marriage rights were achieved, but instead to provide an alternative to marriage that would offer benefits without forcing couples into matrimony.
Why would an employer hinge your pay on whether you are married? Right? Now, employers have done this. If we think back earlier than domestic partnerships, why did firms start to have partner benefits at all, spousal benefits at all? It was a way of compensating employees, retaining them, making their workplaces attractive, providing for, in those days, what were many single earner households. But that becomes a very different thing in a world where many people who are living with a partner are living in a dual earner household, where each can access their insurance, but each can access their own health insurance through employment, right? And that's a separate conversation. Should we have health insurance through employment at all? But I'll leave that to Richard.
For the first time in 2011, census data showed that married couples represent the minority of Americans. Just 48% of all households are married. That's down from 52% in 2001 and down from 72% in 1960. So that is a pretty fundamental shift in how Americans are choosing voluntarily to live their lives. A recent Pew poll showed that 40% of Americans, 40% say that marriage is obsolete and anachronistic. 30% of all adult Americans have never been married, and that's also a historic high. About a third of the adult population has never been married. And as we know, people who do get divorced marry, and now if they remarry at all, remarry at lower rates and at a much longer period between marriages. So there's just, as same-sex marriage has erupted onto the agenda and gained approval, there's been this dramatic shift amongst heterosexuals away from that institution. And this is done without any coercion or social movement really behind it. It's only because the institution has failed to meet the needs that they express organically. Right? Which is not to say that marriage isn't a perfectly valid and reasonable choice for some people. It's just that voluntarily and non-coercively, people are choosing simply not to enter into it.
With the LGBT population specifically, we are 4 times less likely to have children and 2 times more likely to be single. So given that as people age, they're reliant on biological family and legally recognized partners is the dominant trend in this country. What we're looking at is a group of folks who don't necessarily have those in place.
There's no change as of right now that's discussed as far as our coverage of domestic partner benefits, and I don't anticipate it, to be honest, because it's not really a same-sex matter. It's recognizing domestic partners and recognizing the fact that we need to pay people equally for equal pay for equal work.